price of Bitcoin is $87,500. The odds of a rate cut in December have now climbed to 80.9%. Vice President Mr. Vance went on a stage yesterday and told the entire crowd that they should be buying Bitcoin and that it's here to stay for the long term and the government's going to pump in a lot of cash. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. Nothing in this video should be taken as financial advice, investment advice, or any form of recommendation.
The consistent fear that I hear is that there's still this perception that digital assets are not welcome in the mainstream economy, and let me promise you that our effort to change the policy is purely about changing that. We want our fellow Americans to know that crypto and digital assets, and particularly Bitcoin, are part of the mainstream economy and are here to stay.
Which, if you ask me, is amazing news. Naturally, there's a lot of fear in crypto that, you know, it can lose relevance over time and prices will decline, people will lose interest, and it will just go pop. Now, I firmly believe, having been here for a long time, since 2013, I've been doing this, and I've been making videos about it since 2016. I can tell you now, it's not going anywhere. It'll keep being here because I'll keep talking about it. And so will hundreds of thousands of other people who are now financially incentivized to talk about it. Japan have also made it mandatory this week for crypto exchanges to hold cash reserves that would mean in the event of a hack, the exchange can afford to pay out people who lost money. Effectively meaning that in Japan, if you operate an exchange, you're now a bank. Which, to be honest, I don't know if that's good news or bad news. On the one hand, it's good news for consumers that use Japanese exchange. On the other hand, it is terrible news for Japanese exchanges. It's kind of like the opposite of fractional reserve bank. It was a really good consumer rule when we're talking about this rule in Japan. But this is why we should just reiterate here, you can't trust banks. You can never trust banks. If inevitably some of these banks that you use over the next 20, 30 years will go bust. And the thing is, if you're not insured, then you're going to lose all your money. So don't have money in banks. Put it in Bitcoin. At least Bitcoin can't go bust. Now, of course, I also want to discuss the price of Bitcoin in today's video. And currently the price is sitting at $87,684, having a nice little bounce up there. We're also going to discuss over the price of Ethereum, which is now... oh, it's bounced up. That's pretty nice. We see we're in some of these positions, you see. And I brought up these positions in yesterday's video. We're up 17K on that one. We're up a K on that one. And we're up $400 on that one. That gives us an account balance here right now of $28,500, which is fantastic news. We're about $18,700 in a profit. And again, if you were just watching my videos, you'd have caught all of these trades. Like, I'm a pretty calm and normal person, and I'll only ever show you something that I'm very confident about. But we're going to talk about all of this stuff later on in the video. But now, if you wouldn't mind, please press that like button. Honestly, you don't know how much it means to me. I know I say it every single video, but it means a lot to me. So I know no one likes a beg, but I really appreciate it when you press that button. But back to the news today. Larry Fink has been talking about Bitcoin, and it's good news.
There is a role for gold, and there's a role for Bitcoin, which I believe are assets of fear. You own these instruments if you're frightened of the debasement of your currency. You own it if you have financial insecurities, or you own it if you have physical insecurities and worries. So that's one of the foundational issues of, you know, my journey in understanding crypto more. But today there's about $4.1 trillion sitting in digital wallets, growing very rapidly.
Now, this man is one of the world's only trillionaires. He's not actually himself personally a trillionaire, but his company has $12.5 trillion of assets under management. Bitcoin's market cap is $1.74 trillion, so his company is about 10 times larger, eight times larger than what Bitcoin is. Just yesterday, his company bought $92.61 million worth of Ethereum, as reported by me. I reported this one on Twitter. But it's the first inflow for BlackRock's Ethereum ETF after 2 weeks now. But the buying pressure's kicking back in, and he's starting to talk positively about it again. And if the man who owns the $12.5 trillion company has just bought $92 million worth of Ethereum, I think that we might be on the turn, you know? That seems like a good news story to me. You want to know another good news story? Ethereum recorded $1.3 billion in 24-hour stablecoin supply chain. That's a lot of money. Printed out of thin air. $1.3 billion landed on Ethereum the other day. They're going to buy things on Ethereum. Not all of that money is going to buy something, but a lot of that money is going to be used for trading. It's going to be used for bridging. It's going to use to be adding liquidity to all the different things that Ethereum interacts with. And you know what? There's more good news, because today is a day of good news, because Senator Loomis, she likes Bitcoin a lot. She's a senator And now he's going on CNBC telling everyone to buy Bitcoin. And to be honest, all these people just want to look correct in the time of history. And they're going to print a bunch of money in May, guys. You're mad for not buying. If you think you're bear market, like, just give up, quit. Why are you here?
I encourage people to buy and hold. I encourage them to say Bitcoin for their retirement, for their future. And that's because as the Congress spends trillions and trillions of dollars and is flooding our economy and the world economy with US dollars, there's no way that we cannot debase the value of the US dollars.
And she's not the only politician saying these things. It's actually becoming quite a popular thing in Trump's government, because if you want the administration to like you, you'd better start liking Bitcoin, because Trump's kid posted this to Twitter. And then I robbed it, and then I posted about it. But just watch this video. This is absolutely wild.
Hey friends, Eric Trump. Welcome to American Bitcoin. It's a little sneak peek of our facility in Texas, using American energy to mine Bitcoin right here on American soil. We could not be more proud of this facility. 35,000 of these servers right here, all liquid cooled, securing the network, mining Bitcoin. Every single day we mine about 2% of the world's Bitcoin supply, and we safeguard it every single day. So when people say that cryptocurrency is intangible, it's not. It's very tangible. And this right here, guys, is living proof.
Yes, you are understanding this correctly. The son of the president has bought a Bitcoin mine, called it American Bitcoin, and is now promoting it on Twitter and getting his dad to make positive regulation about Bitcoin. And he's also going to get his dad, the president of the United States, to start buying Bitcoin. You don't believe me, do you? Well, first of all, watch this clip. Now, I've seen this clip on the internet a million times, but it's actually such an interesting clip. And it's regarding JP Morgan and their tactics towards crypto in the past. And think of the government as JP Morgan in this scenario.
On September 12th, Jamie Dimon says Bitcoin is a fraud. He says he'll fire any one of his traders buying Bitcoin. Bitcoin drops 24%. When Jamie Dimon speaks, people listen. People listen. So that weekend, we found out that the largest buyer of a Bitcoin fund that's in Europe that buys physical Bitcoin, right? The largest buyer was Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan. And that's not illegal.
He says it's a fraud.
It says you fire anyone that buys it. Yes.
And at the same time, his company is buying it.
His company is buying it.
It's just, I mean, so unethical.
But ethics don't matter when money is involved, unfortunately. These big organizations will do what they need to do. I mean, just listen to this famous podcast man. He often goes on CNBC and tells us how much he likes Bitcoin, but what he says here is completely true.
I think there's really three things that people are kind of paying attention to. The first is the United States government at some point is going to announce that they're buying Bitcoin. Creating the initial Bitcoin kind of strategic reserve and sitting the Bitcoin that we already had there was good. But that's kind of the, not the main dish. The main dish is when they start buying, and I think that will happen at some point.
And yes, this is not the most up-to-date clip. The fact remains, Trump's kid bought a Bitcoin mine. Even the head, and this is reported by Altcoin Daily earlier today, because Altcoin Daily just love to watermark every clip that I ever post on my channel. But this guy is the head of Coinbase Institutional Research. Very smart, very educated, Wall Street type, but ultimately has more access to data, information, and capital than me and you probably ever will. And he seems pretty confident.
Nothing's really changed since the all-time high. If we just step back and think about structurally, in fact, you can argue the news coming out about Citibank, JP Morgan, both leveraging stablecoins at a huge scale. The Czechoslovakian National Bank has come out and announced they will be the first Eurozone country to purchase Bitcoin for the Treasury. Clarifying rules from the IRS. Harvard Endowment announcing they own more Bitcoin than gold. All of those things are structurally very, very positive. From the exchange point of view, we're not seeing a massive increase in open interest on our futures market. CME, you can check it yourself. I was always taught early on, a declining price market accompanied by a rapidly declining open interest means the market is breaking down structurally. People are exiting the market forever. When I look at Bitcoin, I see the number of active Bitcoin wallets roughly the same as it was 3 months ago. I see both CME and Coinbase futures open interest, again, ticking down a little bit, but not nearly in line with price direction. And so I go back to the very, very basic principle of if I like apples, I don't like them less because they're on sale. And so if you like this asset, you like it more. If you don't like this asset, if you've never liked this asset, you now have the microphone for a few months or a few weeks, we'll see how long, and enjoy that moment.
And so it's at that point that I kind of opt to rest my case on the whole news for today. I think news is positive. I think that the market's in a a strong position, and I think that people lack the confidence to deploy during the worst times. And ultimately, I actually don't think the dip is over either. Like I'm going to explain to you now. If you just look at the chart for a second, we don't need to do the world's most in-depth analysis. Ultimately, most of you are going to have your own opinions on what's going to happen. But my thoughts right now on what I believe is happening is, of course, we've got a level of resistance kind of dating back to up here. We're now trading above that level. So that's pretty positive. So from my perspective right now, so long as we can hold this level, and that level is currently sitting now, it goes down, so $86,000. $86,000, a loss of that level, look, we'll come down, we'll do a retest, and we'll probably have another stab, maybe back into the 78 range. But for me, anywhere between 70k and about 85k, solid buy range. Where we are right now, I'm a bit less keen to buy it. Peak range of liquidity is a little bit lower than where the price currently sits. But ultimately, we've got a few hours till US Open now, so it's just a bit of a waiting game. What we've got here is $89,000. Now, a break of $89,000 for Bitcoin, that'll start leading into a lot of people's dumping money back into the markets again. If, for example, we was to take the fear and greed index and say, look, today now we're at 20. Yesterday we're at 19. The day before we were at 11. It was a pretty bad week last week, but that is starting to come around and sentiment is starting to change from, oh my God, bear market to, oh my God, maybe we should buy the dip. We should also maybe look at a liquidation heat map, for example. We can see we've got about all of this liquidity sat above the current price on Bitcoin. We've got all of this liquidity sat above the current price on Ethereum. People that read into this too deeply are crazy. Ultimately, from my perspective, a combination of a liquidation heat map and, more importantly than that, the VRVP, because the VRVP is more customizable. You can control it a lot more. And what that shows you is where the open interest is sat in the order book. A liquidation heat map will show you where people lose money, and an order book shows you where that money is sat. So when we see on the side of the screen these levels here, what that's showing us is where there is peak zones of liquidity in order books, where that money is sat in the order book, and naturally, what we're seeing at the moment when it comes to the VRVP is we're at a pretty peak range. The next peak range is set up here at 91, 92. I think we'll come up there so long as we hold the level of 86. We lose 86, it gets bad. I'm holding my long positions, and I'm holding them in Ethereum and Solana and slightly more volatile assets than Bitcoin, shall we say. And for those, they've actually not looking bad at all. Same kind of situation. We've cracked it. We've retested it. We're having a bit of a bounce back upwards, and we're looking for a break of 2,950 on ETH, and then ETH in theory goes up another 10% from there to $3,300. Now on Solana's slightly not performing quite as well, but the same old story, to be honest. I'm looking for the top of the range, some kind of test up here around 165, and that is a range that dates back for a very, very long period of time. Like it's a super, super big range is that, and we'll get back up there. It's just a matter of time, innit? And naturally, I'll be trading this on WEEX and on BLOFIN. If you want to sign up to either exchange, check out the links in the video description. Both of them will give you a massive 25% fee discount. Both of them have got up to $30,000 in bonuses when you sign up. 0 KYC on both of them. But if you use links, you support the channel. And if you appreciate the editing and the work that goes into making these videos, because honestly, we put in a lot more effort than what we used to, support the channel. Use the links. Honestly, it helps a lot. And you get bonuses, which will make it cheaper than using your current exchange anyway. Now, as I always say, the one thing you need to be checking on is the open interest. We can see here, looking down all of this, massive boosts in open interest. I'm super interested to keep an eye on Monad here. That's a new launch. Apparently, it's going to be the next big thing, but we'll see. Just watch the open interests. If they're going up, prices will go up. That simple. Of course, if you want to join the $10,000 to $1 million trading challenge, we're doing a pretty good job at that. Last update, $28,000 or somewhere near. We do all that in the Discord, where I post everything all the time about what I'm doing in terms of my trades and everything like that. This is the exact same trade that is now sat in a significant profit back before it was in a profit. But yeah, guys, there's loads of good links in the video description. Most of you will probably completely ignore it, but if there's one button that you can press that would make me happy, it is that like button. So press that. Also the subscribe button if you're new. I really appreciate it. I hope you find my content a little bit more interesting than standard crypto crap on the internet. I really do put in some effort here. From my own side, I actually am genuinely interested, genuinely passionate, and I'm on a bit of a mission here because I want to make $100 million in my life, and that means we've got to get to work, do some learning, do some educating, figure out pretty much everything. Funny thing is, I actually have made $100 million before. I just didn't hold on to it very well. That was 2021. That's a while ago now. Back to work, everybody. On that note, I'm nowhere near it these days, guys. Don't get me twisted. I did a terrible job. But it was a lesson learned. I learned so much, and I humbled myself. And honestly, I'm a lot happier now than I ever have been. So I'll see you in a bit. I hope you did subscribe, and ciao, everybody.